Well, today is day, let's see, 251 in our journey through the Word, and just three great messages in today's reading. And I'll just touch briefly on all three. The first of them really ties back to the how I titled today's reading is, what do you do when God blesses another? Do you rejoice in that and go on? Or do you become jealous and look for ways to bring them down? What do you do? In this case, in Daniel 6:4, it says, "Then the other administrators and high priest began searching for some fault in the way Daniel was handling the government affairs. But they could not find anything. He was a man of integrity. He walked in the ways of the Lord, and they could find no fault in him. So they did what they could to bring him to a point of destruction." Which brings us to the other message here, because they came to the king and had the king declare a 30-day moratorium where people could only pray and worship to the king, not to their, if they had idols, but in this case of Daniel, where Daniel was forbid from bowing down in prayer and praying to his God, the one true God. Daniel was faithful. He was faithful to what he believed. He was faithful to the one true God. He didn't care the consequences. He was going to pray to his God. And so 3 times a day he said he knelt and prayed. And that's all these administrators and high priests needed, was to catch him doing in being faithful to his God. And that caused him a great despair of the king, because the king loved him, liked Daniel. But the decree had been made, and Daniel was thrown into the lion's den. The rock was rolled in front of it, and it was sealed with the seal of the king, where no one could open it. Which made me also think of that same scenario where Jesus Christ was the lone sacrifice for your sins and mine. And he was placed in the grave. The stone was rolled close. The seal was placed on the grave. Back to Daniel. In Daniel 6:20 and 21, the king says to him, he hollers into the cave, and he says, was your God whom you served so faithfully, was he able to rescue you from the lions? And then he listened. And it wasn't a quiet listen. It was a proclamation of praise. My God sent his angel to shut the lions, more than one, mouths, for I have been found innocent in his sight. The king fretted all night for Daniel because he didn't want to have to put him there. The officials just got what they wanted. They got rid of Daniel. But Daniel laid down with the lions that night. He didn't pace. He didn't stand up on a rock and try to climb out or get away from them. Can you just imagine him laying down with the lions and sleeping and having a restful sleep that night? Was your God able to rescue you? Yes, my God sent his angel and he saved me. My God rescues me. My God is able. And then the other thing in today's reading was a reminder to never stop praying. Never stop asking. Because we saw in today's reading where it said in Daniel's 9:23, the moment you began praying, a command was given in heaven. They had been praying for 70 years, and I don't know how long it took from the time he prayed this prayer until the exiles were told to go home and rebuild their temple. But in 9:23 it says, the moment you began praying, a command was given. God gave the command. And things started to fall into place as God had planned. We had already been told at the beginning of the exile it would be 70 years. And at 70 years, the exiles began to return to Jerusalem and to return back to rebuilding the temple. So again, what do you do when God blesses others? Do you celebrate with them? Or do you look for ways to bring them down? When you're facing the lion's den, the most challenging times in your life, just to the point of destruction, total despair, was Daniel worried? No. Was the king worried? Yes. The others, I'm sure, gloated. Was your God able? And you can answer, yes, he was. My God saved me. And again, never, never, never stop praying. And I'm guilty of this. Never stop praying. Because it may be that next prayer where the command is given in heaven. What a great reading today. I hope you enjoyed it as well. I will see you again tomorrow as we continue our journey through the Word.